Hey guys, Evan Animation here with another video. It has been a long time. I know I took a break, but I'm back and I decided to return with this right before Owl House returns. In this video, I will cover all the secret codes, which I decoded using this helpful decoder in the back. But if you don't want to do it by hand, you can use some online decoders that work very well. However, I do recommend doing it by yourself because you can quickly understand the codes and do it without the decoder. That's what happened with me anyway. Back to the main topic, I will also cover the main plots of the book that will mostly take place before Anne arrives. Later parts of the book are written about things we've already seen or heard of. With all that said, let's get started. Okay guys, before we start, I hope my camera's good. I'm not used to filming like this, but I'm doing my best. Anyway, I'm going to explain the plot and solve the codes as I go along. Starting off, the book starts on Marcy's first day in Amphibia, which is admittedly odd because she has the book and writes in it beforehand. However, I am willing to let this slide because some obvious adjustments had to be made to the book, including the fact that in the show the book is a little more scientifical, or at least that's what I've picked up. Final comment, and I couldn't stop noticing this, in the show the two front stickers are on the back. I know it's not big, but for some reason I can't get it out of my head. With that out of the way, let's get into the important stuff. Marcy is apparently part of the Newtopian Night Guard, which she does mention in the Marcy at the Gates episode, despite the fact that she left the Night Guard right before that. Anyway, she joins the Night Guard, and, fun fact, that's where she gets her outfit. She also gets a team of cadets with the names Javi, I hope I said that right, Kettle, and Femur. They spend their time trying to track down an old cult that has been burning Newtopian libraries. Throughout the book, Marcy forms bonds with them and grows her skills. And on entry 21, we find the first code. They find an ancient scroll salvaged from a burning library. It states, "The 3 stones of power, we thought they were a gift, but they are more likely a curse. One was found in each of the 3 lands, and great wars were waged by nations hoping to possess all 3. These great stones would make nearby crops grow better, they could heal wounds, and cure the disease of those who touched them. Most of all, though, they could destroy the foes of those who wielded them." Not much to analyze here, besides the fact that wars were waged over the stones, which really isn't a big surprise. Moving on, Marcy and her team continue trying to stop the Ulm cult, and they eventually corner the group and its leader. The leader reveals himself to be the previous leader of Marcy's cadets. His name is Captain Ernest. He had apparently faked his death and joined the cult. This came as a sad surprise to Marcy's group. He runs off and tells them to meet him at Dawnblood Castle. We are then introduced to the second code found in the remaining unburned text. This is on entry 31. It states, "The inventor of the box, the wisest newt of them all. She managed to unite the kingdoms under one banner, a banner of interdimensional conquest and ambition. Peace came to Amphibia, and with it a golden age. However, this peace led to the conquest and subjugation of other worlds. The inventor of the box faded into obscurity, burdened by guilt and sadness. It is said that even death could not hinder her quest for redemption, and that she still travels the world in spectral form alongside her winged purple companion to this very day. What is her duty? Will her soul ever find peace?" This is big news. It shows that Valeriana has been alive for thousands of years as a ghost. Apparently she feels guilty for what happened and only lives waiting for redemption. This possibly means that she's the embodiment of the creator of the stones, or an ambassador for her. This also means that she probably fades away at the end of the series. Moving on, Marcy continues her mission and goes to Dawnblood Castle on the Green Lady. She meets Yunnan on the way, and we learn that Yunnan's father betrayed his post, which is why she was so dedicated to getting rid of crime. Anyway, once Marcy and her group arrive on Dawnblood Island, they find some of the old Newtopian technology. This is where Marcy finds the third code on entry 39. It says, "What will happen to us? Ever since the box left our world, we have been plunged into a new dark age. The technology we once used to control wildlife is no longer available to us. Our cities are becoming overrun with beasts and monsters which have not troubled us for centuries. We must leave and find a new way to live. O stones, O glorious mother, why have you abandoned us? Is this our punishment? Did our greed bring us here? The main question for this code is who wrote it. My assumption is that it'll be written by someone I will soon mention. Moving on, Marcy and her crew go through a set of traps at Dawnblood Castle, and they eventually find Ernest. He explains that he was hired to do what he did and that he didn't like the pressure of the night guard. They then all fight, causing both physical and emotional damage to Marcy and her crew, and ultimately death for Ernest. This now brings me back to earlier. The person who hired Ernest is the one who I assume wrote the code. However, Ernest was apparently paid in coins produced thousands of years ago, which probably means Valeriana. This might be a problem because the previous code makes it seem like the writer did not invent the box, but I still think that Valeriana is the best answer for writing the code and paying Ernest. Moving on, besides the coins, another thing was left behind with Ernest. It was the final code written on entry 46. It states, "The three will come, it is only a question of when and how. Their coming will shake the foundations of this land, and let us begin anew. Praise be to the three. Their choice shall reveal salvation, or, indeed, punishment. But beware, dark forces will destroy our history and try to confuse our saviors when they arrive. Mother has foreseen it." This is nothing new. We knew most of this information from the Ohms, which are who I assume wrote the scroll. Moving on, now that Ernest has been defeated, all of the members of Marcy's group are tired of being in the night guard. Kettle and Javi start dating and move away, while Femur feels too peaceful for the night guard life and becomes a shepherd. This causes Marcy to be sad, but she has a new friend, Joe Sparrow. At this point, King Andrew is promoted to royal advisor, and we transition into the introduction of Anne. I'm mostly going to run through this part because it's information we already know, but there are some more interesting things in store, including this picture. I just had to show it because it's mentioned in the show. On a more serious note, jumping to Anne and the Planters' departure from Newtopia, we learn how truly devastated Marcy was by Anne wanting to go with the Planters instead of her. We also learn more about Andrews' proposal to Marcy and what he told her, which was exactly what Marcy had told the others. Skipping to Andrews' betrayal, we see a quickly written page done by Marcy while she was saving Sprig. She writes a frantic note about how he lied to her. On the previous page, it seems that one entry has been burned off or covered with only one word showing, which is can't. However, I might be reading this wrong, and the final note she wrote counts as an entry. Anyway, after a final note, we see that Anne takes over the journal. I'll mostly move through this quickly as well, but we get to learn some cool personal information about the main three. First off, we get to see both Sasha and Marcy's parents, and we learn that Sasha struggled with her home life. We also get to learn how Anne and Marcy met. Apparently, Anne defended Marcy's sandcastle from the ocean waves, and they instantly became friends. Continuing on the regular timeline, we learn that Anne saw the creator of the stones in her dreams before she met her in the finale. This mostly wraps up the information in Anne's section of the journal, and at the very end, Marcy returns for a few pages. She says that her father delayed his job until she returned, but that she would soon leave Anne and Sasha. She also mentions that Terry and Mr. X are trying to develop a secret portal to Amphibia away from the government's eyes. She then ends her daily logs in the journal after she leaves Los Angeles. And at the very end, we see 10 years later during the end of the finale. She apparently has been making a webcomic called Amphibia based off of Amphibia. She explains that she easily made new friends in her town and that she felt really good there. She then gives some exciting news that Terry has information for the three of them, and they need to meet soon. This might mean that the adventures of Amphibia are not over. She then ends the book with a drawing of herself and the signatures of the three girls. First off, I am going to decode the messages on the cover, but I just want to mention the idea of returning to Amphibia. Personally, I don't know how I feel about it. It would be great to see another show, not that that's happening, but I feel like Amphibia ending with no real possibility of the three girls returning kind of had a nice feeling to it. Anyway, with that said, let's decode the cover. Starting on the inside, which is a beautiful map of Amphibia, including the travel van and the planters to Utopia. At the top of the map, it simply says, property of the Royal Cartography Society. The bottom, however, is a little more cryptic. It states, if thou seekest adventure, then this great land shall suffice. But beware, for every great dream will always have its price. Whether this is a simple danger message or something with meaning, I wouldn't know. I guess this one's up for you to decide. Ending off the book is a message on the back, a nice reference to the finale saying, of the things you let go, you'd be surprised what makes its way back to you. And that was Marcy's journal. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I didn't miss anything. It's not a long book, but it did take me a few days to read. If you want more of these, I have Star vs. The Forces of Evil's Magic Book of Spells and Gravity Falls Journal 3, which I would be happy to analyze. I hope I gave you a good summary of the book. For some reason, I didn't feel like I did it justice, but I tried my best. I didn't know how to cover a whole book, and I admittedly wrote more than I thought I would, but I hope I pulled it off pretty well. Anyway, with all that said, I'm Everyone Animation, and I hope to see you next time.